Okay, welcome back. So hopefully you did the previous lesson and we did a bit of iteration here, and maybe you've worked out by now that less than a second would be something like 0.5, or maybe 0.2 would be a good number to put there for the sort of 0.2 seconds to make him look like he's moving fairly fast. I suppose 0.2, 0.3 might be a good enough number. Okay, now that's obviously down to you what you want to do. Now what we want to do is automate our cat to get him to move by himself across the screen. So with our canvas, you can see that obviously this canvas looks quite small, but we could make it big, and we can make it bigger and even full screen like this. And if you press play, you can see that happens, right? Now, if I'll just make it small for the moment, and we're going to concentrate on a second algorithm. So for our second algorithm, we can just grab another when flag is clicked. And this algorithm is going to use selection in it. So we're going to use iteration like we did before, which is a loop, a block of code that loops together. So that, like this algorithm over here, we've got this one that just loops round and round and round forever these. Now, in this one, what we want to maybe do is figure out how to get him to run across the screen, and then if he hits the edge of the screen, he maybe goes to a different location and runs again. So we can do, of course, the iteration for that. So we will grab the forever, okay, put that in there. And then we can go to motion at the top, and you see we've got this move 10 steps. Now if I just click on it, you can see he moves. Over here you can see every time I just click on it, he moves. So if I put that in the forever, and then maybe position him on the left, make this a bit bigger, press play, and you can see it looks like he's running now. But of course, inevitably what happens is that he gets stuck onto the other side of the screen. All right, it gets stuck there, and he just keeps on sort of moving. So that's something that we want to fix with that. So we're going to have to say if something happens here, if he touches the edge of the screen maybe, or if he gets to a certain position or coordinates, because we've got our XY coordinates, of course we could use that, but in Scratch actually we do have, if he touches this edge, then we can make him do something else or go somewhere else, which is more important. So we go back to control, and here we've got this if, and you can see we've got two ifs. There's just a simple if here, and then there's an if and an else. Now we're not going to use this one for now, we're just going to concentrate on this if, and we're going to then pick sensing, and you've got here at the top touching mouse pointer. So with this touching mouse pointer, we're going to grab that, and usually you will get different options here. At the moment you can see we've only got mouse pointer and edge, because essentially that's all we've got. We've got Bob, and we've got the edge, and we've got a mouse pointer, which is, you can see it on the screen. So if we had another sprite, that would probably come up as an option on this list, but we're going to just pick touching edge because that's what we want. And if touching edge, what do we want them to do? Well, we want them to move or go to a different position. So let's say maybe the left-hand side of the screen. So if we get them to go to the left-hand side of the screen, well, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can look at it. You would have to make sure that he's not touching the edge on this side either, or the top or bottom. So if we get him to run across to here, and he touches this edge, you wouldn't want to put him to this side where he's also touching the edge, because then it would get stuck. He'd get stuck in that position. So you can see here, if I put him roughly about there, hopefully that's not touching the edge, and I can look down at this number, minus 184. Okay, so go to motion, and under the motion section we've got go to X and Y, as you can see here, and we'll pull that out. If I just slip that into there, and on that it's already set to minus 184 and minus 24, because that's where I've just put the cat, okay, or Bob should I call him. So I'm going to make that smaller, and I'm going to put this just under my move. So what's going to happen is that he's always going to move. So forever he's going to move. But then if he touches the edge, he'll go to this position, and then back round, it will continue to move. So we'll test it, just play, and you can see it works, right? So that's fine. Okay, now I probably could have done minus 185, that would work. Now, if I change it to minus 190, let's see what happens. Does he get stuck? No, it's still fine actually, but if I do minus 250 and now play it, okay, you can see what happens now. He's got stuck on that edge, and that's because he's at minus 250, but he's also touching the edge, so he continuously goes back to that position. So you just have to make sure it's a number that is not too far to the left, essentially. So minus 190 is actually fine, and it does look like he's sort of repeating. Now, the good thing about this is that you can imagine already that you could start to play a game where you would have to jump over this sprite, and this sprite doesn't necessarily have to be something that's a character. It could be, I don't know, a block or something you have to jump over in a game. And now I'm just moving the mouse up and down, but you can imagine you would have the arrow keys to have a jump sort of sequence, and it's a bit like what you would get in sort of Mario. That's a similar kind of thing. Now, what if I wanted them to actually do this the other way round instead? Well, I would have to change his direction, of course, and you can do that under the motion, and you've got turning in either direction, but we'll look at that at a different time, or point in direction here. So the last thing we need to do is, with this algorithm, just give it a comment as well. So I'm just going to put a comment in here. I'm going to put the hash symbol and say iteration for movement. And then I'm going to put another one, selection, and we can put if in there, selection to change position when touching the edge. Okay, so that's that one. That's our second algorithm done. Okay, now you do need to get used to writing these comments. Okay, these comments are really, really important. And what would be also a good idea is that you keep your algorithms pretty short. Like you can see that I've got these two algorithms, they're fairly short, but more importantly, they're not, you know, they don't do more than sort of one thing really. So this one deals with just changing our costume, and then this one is dealing with actually him moving across the screen, and then of course resetting and going back to the previous position. Okay. Now, you can imagine every time you stop and play, you might have a start position. So that would be maybe a different algorithm that you could set up, that you would have some sort of settings considering what the start position of the game is. Like, is he actually on the screen? Is he invisible and then appears and then comes into the screen? All of those kind of things. But the main idea of this video was to show you this if, this selection, right? If touching the edge, go to minus x and minus on the y. Okay, so we've got iteration, which is the forever, and selection, which is our if.